Welcome to Gutter Trash, episode 258, a band called Death. Death! My name is Eric.
I'm Jason.
Death!
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's up, buddy?
Nothing.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Enjoying yourself?
No.
You had yourself a long weekend.
I did have myself a long weekend.
Not as long as mine.
No one's weekend is as long as yours.
That's right. That's not the only thing that they're jealous of the length of, which is
Your hair.
mine. My hair is getting long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mine's a little longer than yours,
I
though.
know, we're turning to hippies. Which, I can understand.
Right.
What's going on over there?
I always fluctuate between metal hair and shaved head.
Right. This is the colder season.
It's the colder season, so I haven't had my hair cut in a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Plus, you don't want to have follicle envy going on every time I'm in the room.
And when I grow out my hair long, there's a very limited span of time within the year that when my hair is long, it is also not curly.
Oh, because of the
humidity and the temperature, yeah. And so at this point, my hair is long and also mostly straight, which I enjoy.
Did you used to always keep your hair long when you were younger?
When I was in junior high and high school, my hair was, it would fluctuate, but for the most part, I would keep it longish.
So when, I know you're out of school in, June and July, but the warmer months, did people think, do they go, oh, did you get a perm?
No, what I would actually do, especially in my teenage years, is I would get a reverse perm.
Oh.
And get my hair straightened at the beginning of June.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what that was.
And but my hair became immune to that.
Oh, it learned.
Yes, it learned. It was like Doomsday.
Yeah.
And
the Borg.
Yes. And every time I would defeat it, it would learn from its mistakes and come back even stronger. And so I had to stop doing that because it just wasn't working anymore.
All right.
And so then that's when I just started, cutting it super, super short during the summer. And then, within the past couple of years, I've just been shaving it in the summer.
Right.
Except for this year, I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah, you didn't, did you?
I've let it, I've had haircuts, but for the most part, I've let it grow out since probably, June or July.
Yeah.
I could use a haircut.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to at least rock mine for a couple more months.
Yeah.
I think I got it cut the week before I got my square job.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just let it go ever since.
Right. Well, because you have to acclimate to the new lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, I better get my hair cut within the next month, or I'm not ever gonna be able to get my hair cut again.
Oh? Why? But she can cut your hair whenever she wants, right? No?
She's not going to work there. Why would she,
She wouldn't just do it at home?
Why would she?
Didn't she when you were a kid?
It's her off time.
It's her bread and butter, too, yeah. When you were a kid, she didn't have the shop, though, right?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she did?
Oh,
okay.
She's had that shop for, 35 years.
Wow, really? Okay. Wow, I didn't
40
realize
years
that was
even?
long.
Yeah.
Oh, that's impressive. I wonder how many feet of hair your mom has cut in the last 40 years.
Probably a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah. So this is hair chat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hair chat. I like talking about hair.
I do as well.
What's the best haircut you've ever had?
Ooh.
I don't mean you always get your haircut the same, and like this
Right.
one day it was just perfect. But I mean, like, did you ever get a different do?
Not really. No. Due to the natural state of my hair, it is very difficult to really vary anything about it. Because kind of just does what it's going to do.
You don't get a lot
no
of
matter
options,
what.
right?
Yeah. It's either going to be straight and flat, or it's going to be curly and out there.
Yet another instance where us white people rule.
Yep.
I think I had a shaved head when I was like 15 or 16, and my friend did it with a straight razor. So I mean, it was like there was not a
Right. Yeah.
drop of hair in my head. And then like my favorite though, I think was, and I did this solely for the purpose of entertaining my friends at school, because we had a lot of assemblies. Like they had all, like there was just tons of them. I don't know if it was more than normal or not, but it seemed like it was a ridiculous amount at school. So I had my buddy shave 2 eyeballs and a smiley face in the back of my hair, because I had like hair about like that is now. It's longish.
Right.
But I had him shave a smiley face in the back of my head, and anytime we had an assembly, whether I knew the person behind me or not, I handed them a Sharpie and told them to, if they got bored during the assembly, to draw teeth and eyeballs in the empty spots in my hair. And it entertained my buddies and occasionally a stranger. So that was cool. I'm guessing you do not approve.
I don't disapprove. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. I also did, like, at my birthday party once when I lived on Wyoming Street, I said anybody that came to my birthday party had to cut part of my hair off before they left, and we were all drinking. So, and there was maybe a dozen people there, so by the end of the night I had a mohawk that went, like, where my sideburn would be up to the top of my head, and then, like, the rest on either side of it was shaved, and then, like, like weird various lengths of different hair. So that was a weird haircut. And my first driver's license photo had green hair. But those are probably the weirdest 3.
I've never had any weird haircuts.
No.
Just
No mohawks either.
no mohawks, nothing. Just either super short or super long.
No.
The best long one that I had was around 1996, right around when I graduated from high school. I had just gotten my hair straightened,
No.
and for like 2 weeks, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You ever think about growing it really long now? I mean, do you have the option at work? Is it okay?
It's not okay.
It's not encouraged, though.
Right, yeah. Because my coworker that I drive with every day, he's had his hair in a ponytail a couple of times while I've worked with him.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, it's a matter of irritation. Like my hair gets too long to a point, and I get irritated by it. Like it's kind of reaching that area right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Where you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like sometimes
yeah.
I'll, like now, because this is as long as mine has been in years, and like sometimes I'll see like out of the peripheral
Right.
my hair, and I'm like, "Is somebody next to me?" Yeah. And then I look over all of a sudden, and I'm like, "Oh, it's just my hair."
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see what you mean. It's annoying. Hair chat.
Yep. It's also, it's a little kind of a bitch to maintain sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, just cut it short 2 or 3 times a year, and then let it grow, and then cut it short.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Mm-hmm. So I kind of really like it when I do the shaved head thing, because you just
You're good for a while.
you're good. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's cooler.
Yeah.
In the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of cool hair. Have you ever had dreadlocks?
I have not. Have you?
No.
Good.
But I think I tried once, but
You're an idiot.
Yeah. But I just basically let my hair get really dirty for like a month. And I was like, yeah, this is not worth it.
that to me is the biggest thing I have against dreadlocks.
Right.
Is the fact that it's pretty much just dirt.
Right. But it's all natural hair dirt. It's not like you're rubbing like soot in there.
No, but still, it's gross.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Yeah. But the dudes in this movie did.
They sure did. Most of them.
Yeah, and they looked good.
Sure. I guess.
I honestly think it's awesome when older dudes, like people in their 50s and 60s, have dreads. I think it looks kind of nice. It's a good look for the older gentleman.
I don't know. I don't find it a good look for anyone. But for at least it fits the sort of role that they played for a while, where they were a reggae band.
That's right.
Yeah. And but that's not what especially what this movie is about.
No.
We watched a documentary called A Band Called Death, and it is about a kind of a punk band.
Yeah.
From 1973, before punk was invented.
Right.
And there were 3 black brothers from Detroit, and they eventually grew up and were a reggae band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hence the dreadlocks.
Yeah, and they started out, they thought they were just like a crazy rock and roll band because, they couldn't say like, we're kind of punk because that wasn't a word that classified music yet.
Right.
Which, that's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, they were, though. I mean, just the style of it and, their attitude about it and
certainly.
What they wound up doing, eventually was all...
Pretty punk rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know where to start with this.
Yeah, I mean, we started with saying this is a band called Death, and then we should go from there.
Yeah, we should also point out that there is another band called Death that exists.
Right.
Existed. That is not about this. That band has nothing to do with this band.
Right. You're talking about the metal band.
Death. Yeah, the metal band Death.
Which are also good.
Which, I enjoy them as well. Yeah. Chuck Schuldiner?
I have no idea.
He's dead, I know that much.
Succumbed to death.
Yes.
Yeah.
He died 5-6 years ago, something like that.
Oh, man, I have no idea.
Okay.
I've got like 2 other burnt CDs. This drummer kid I knew who got out of prison burnt for me. And I listened to him a lot and liked him back in the 90s, but that's all I remember. I never knew anything about the actual band. But yeah, they were good too.
Yeah, I enjoyed them as well. But that is, that is a different type of band that has nothing to do with this.
Nothing.
So it's a documentary. It's about these 3 brothers. It is, I will say that it is almost barely about a band called Death.
It's more about this family.
Right, yeah.
What are those last? Sydney? What's their last name?
Hackney.
Yeah.
Bobby Hackney, Dennis Hackney, and David, yeah. Were the 3 members of the band. They also had another brother named Earl who was not in the band.
No. But he had the coolest laugh. They could have totally put a DVD extra that was just like a loop of all of his laughs. Like, he's one of those guys when he laughs, like you think it's over and it just goes on for like two more minutes and his mouth is moving in all these crazy directions. That was awesome. I love that guy's laugh. But yeah, so it was these 3 dudes and they just started jamming in their house.
Yeah.
And
well, they got into rock and roll.
Yeah, they loved like the Who and whatnot.
Alice Cooper, and they were into it. Which, as they pointed out, for being, black in the late 60s, early 70s, and being into rock,
right?
Was kind of a freak occurrence.
It raised some eyebrows.
Yeah.
And David was kind of like the mastermind of the band. Like he kind he was the
He
guitar player.
spearheaded everything.
Yeah.
Like he drove the band forward. He, I think he was the one that really got into like all the music. He was older than the other two though.
Right.
Brought home records and everything for them to listen to, and I guess the family got into some money and they were able to spend some of it on instruments, and they just started jamming in their bedroom.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they kind of just never really got out there. I think they recorded a 45, a 7-inch or whatever.
Yeah, well, they recorded like 7 or 8 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and say this. A couple years ago, you and I watched, not for the show, but just watched it. The documentary called Anvil.
Yeah,
and that was about a band that never really took off or anything like that.
Right.
And the documentary is really good.
Oh yeah.
Music, not really.
It's all right. I could listen to it.
Not anything I would ever want to listen to. But I gotta say with this, like, they're really good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were super good, and they couldn't make any kind of record deal because they were called Death.
Yeah, that was like their major hurdle, I think.
Yeah,
like they had a lot of hurdles.
Oh yeah,
like like you said, being black dudes playing this weird rock and roll. People were like, who do we market this to? I don't know.
And I mean, and at the time it was angry, loud, fast, short song rock and roll. It was punk before it was punk, and there was like and they were black. And apparently they were shockingly called Death.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, and it's weird to me that just like 2 years later, like the Dead Kennedys, which is a much more like inflammatory name because it's like not just death, but these actual, political giants, Dead Kennedys. And like, so to me that was kind of weird, but I think it all just tied together. It was all those things.
All those things at once, yeah. But I did think about that, while watching the movie, especially when they talk about, how they just kept getting rejection letters, and like the letters would specifically say, well, the name of your band is the reason we're not interested at all.
Right.
And it'd be like, I mean, just think of how many horribly named bands are out there now.
Oh, yeah.
And like so much more well known than this band ever became,
Like your anal cunts.
Exactly. Yeah. Or the metal band called Death.
Yeah, right. Which, that was just maybe early 80s, right?
Right, sure.
So that wasn't that much.
And of their particular brand of metal, probably one of the tamest named bands to ever come out.
But I wonder, too, if this wasn't partially because, like, they were trying all these, record companies in Detroit who were used to, like, Motown and things like that, right? So it's not like when those metal bands started recording, I'm sure, a
lot of doors had already been opened,
and or a lot of them were just like starting record labels for metal.
True, right.
So yeah, they had a lot of things to overcome, and unfortunately,
just couldn't.
It didn't happen, right? So the music kind of rotted on a shelf.
Yeah. Well, the brothers eventually moved out of Detroit to probably a incredibly wider area.
Somewhere in New England.
Somewhere in Vermont, I think.
Yeah.
Where, even more people were put off by the fact that their name was called Death.
Right. And they eventually just said, fuck it.
Yeah, they did change their name, and they put out like a Christian rock album, which
isn't too weird because even the band called Death like has some spiritual motifs.
Oh yeah, like they go into the whole backstory of the brother who came up with the name, and what it meant and like their logo and everything like that. And it's all spiritual related.
Right. It's not just, they weren't trying to be spooky.
Right, yeah.
Like he was like, death is just another thing that happens as part of the life cycle.
Right, yeah. Which is true.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're immortal like us.
Also true. But, I mean, a lot of people, do have this sort of negative connotation about death. And, I don't know, I mean, I've never really felt like that,
Well, I mean,
possibly my death wish that I have.
Right.
But,
I'd say a lot of people think of it as the end of all they know.
Sure.
Which is a downer for some.
I guess. Whatever. I look at it as a blessing and a gift. And,
you're more spiritual than
I'm
us.
just, I am just sitting here waiting for the relief that death will bring.
You mean the band, when we listen to it later?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But also that other thing, where I stop.
Right. Sadness.
No. Just sweet relief.
So yeah, they changed the name to the Fourth Movement. Is what it was?
Something like that, yeah.
And they have like a Christian punk record,
I guess.
something in like 1980.
Right, yeah.
And it doesn't do well.
No. Mostly because people were put off by the fact that it was Christian.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like they were fucked if they did and fucked if they didn't,
Yeah, no one was biting for various reasons.
And, I mean, honestly, like, it would put me off if I listened to anything that was just overtly,
right,
Christian or spiritual. It's just not a thing that I'm into.
You know what? I agree. Like, I do believe in God and have a spiritual belief set, but whenever it's like, especially in lyrics, when it's sang about so literally, it's just fucking boring.
Right.
But like, there's some bands, like, there's a band called Low, and they're, like, Mormon, I think. Brian John Mitchell would know.
Okay.
I think they're Mormon, and they have, a lot of, like, spiritual and God-like motifs in their songs, but it's kind of, like, abstract, and they don't just go, like, they don't just sing choruses about, we love God, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And, like, that is very off-putting in artwork, I think, when anything's that just blatant.
Overt, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with it if it's, subtext.
Yeah.
But when it is just text.
It's like sing along with us about how awesome God is.
Right.
Like, it just feels like contrived or something.
Because, everybody has their beliefs, and, if you're an artist, those beliefs are going to come through some way.
Just not as literal, maybe.
Right, yeah.
So that's where they had a problem.
Right.
And then they kind of splintered.
Yeah, they did. And the David, the sort of
Band leader.
The band leader. And they talk about him a lot, just every decision that they made, you follow your brother.
Yeah.
Because they even at one point get an opportunity to like sign a contract, but, the one thing is, change your name.
Right.
And he refuses.
And the other two are like, shit. Because, they have this awesome mantra, follow your brother, so unless, someone's doing something just horrible,
right,
they back you up, and they're like, that's what he believes in. He has reasons. It wasn't just like, fuck you. I mean, he's like, this is the whole concept, all the lyrics, all the emotion I put into the songs I write are about death, and the band is called Death, and he stuck to his guns, and
which is super punk rock.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because even after they refused to sign the contract, they wind up putting out their own. They press like 500 copies of their single, and self-distribute, and that is one of the most punk rock things you can do.
That's true.
Brian John Mitchell,
right? Yeah.
And the documentary just sort of follows them around as they. Remember like all these events and what they did in the years from like 1980 to 2000, where they two of the brothers formed a reggae band, as we mentioned. I couldn't hear the name of the band fully. Was it Lamb's Breath or Lamb's Bread?
Yeah, I can't remember. Lamb's something or other. Lamb's something. Lamb's Bread, I think it was Lamb's Bread.
Right. With two of the goofiest looking white dudes I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I know, it almost looked like a Saturday Night Live skit at that point. Or like one of those, who does the Best in Show, those Waiting for Guffman, those guys.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it almost looked like something they would film, like if they were, like, yeah, it looked so horrible and fake. Like, what was it, Blaze the Ganja was their song or something?
Fire up the Ganja.
Fire up the Ganja, yeah. It was like, so, just, yeah. It was like a parody of itself. And there's some, without spoiling anything, there's some, like, prophetic moments that happen early in their career that just are weirdly coming full circle 30-something years later.
Right.
It's very interesting and emotional. I almost cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I could feel the tears welling up, and I was like, oh, man, am I going to cry during a documentary about a punk rock band?
Right.
Like, it's pretty gay.
Yeah, I had to fight back tears more than once.
Yeah.
It got super emotional. Because they say right at the beginning the one brother David is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't find out later, how he died.
All the details.
Right. But we do know he is no longer with us. And,
he never got to see anything really come about with the band.
Right. Because the first third of the documentary is about, them forming the band and their lives together growing up and all that. And then the middle section where they just sort of, not really floundered, but, they grew up and they realized that they had to, provide for families.
They kind of forgot about it.
Right, yeah.
I mean, like their kids didn't even know about it.
Right, exactly.
And their kids were into music. So
right.
It seems like something they would have shared with them.
Sure, yeah. But then, I think for me, the real hook of the documentary is, towards the end when, suddenly, people outside of their family, find out that this band existed.
And shit kind of blows up.
Right, yeah.
Like, people are blogging about it. There's
right.
articles about it in magazines, and they've never sold more than 500 records in 40 years. It's fucking crazy. Oh, man. But yeah, and like you said, the music is so fucking good.
Right.
Like, that's what really just blows me away. And it feels awesome because I swear I'm a total music nerd, but for some reason I'm a total, late bloomer. Like I remember whenever I had roommates, they would be listening to certain bands and they're like, oh, okay, and I'd hear it. But 5 or maybe 10 years later, I would really get into that music.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of times I'm the last to know, but I feel like this is awesome because the whole world was the last to know.
Right, yeah.
So that's awesome.
Right. Yeah, and it's sort of one of those things where it's a testament to, the sort of, as artists ourselves, we've probably both heard this, that cream always rises to the top.
Right.
And it's like, well, sometimes it may take 40-some years for that cream to rise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you gotta bake it on its low temperature.
Because, we know tons of people who are awesome at what they do.
Right.
But we know them, and nobody else does.
And they're kind of struggling to make money from their art.
Right, yeah. And some of them, might just give up at some point because they're just not getting, recognition or being able to make a living or anything like that.
Right.
I fucking have.
Right. No.
But, and that's so sad, that happens while mediocrity rules.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it would be one thing if this band was they're okay, or they're kind of alright, but they're really good.
Right, yeah. And that's the thing, I go back to the Anvil documentary. It's like, well,
right.
They're okay.
Yeah.
They're not horrible,
they're
but
serviceable.
Right, yeah.
But they didn't break any ground.
Or
Really.
exactly. It's like I can watch that documentary and I can kind of see why maybe they never made it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, they were doing a very similar thing to people who were more talented or creative
Right.
doing the same thing.
Exactly.
But Death was like 5 years ahead of a movement.
Exactly. Yeah. And what gets me is like, I mean, maybe one of the faults of the documentary is that, I mean, they were still around when punk blew up.
Yeah.
So, like, what was their reaction to that? You know?
That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, because it kind of skips ahead to 1980,
right.
sort of when they're doing, like, did they just not know about punk, maybe?
Right, yeah.
Because they were into other kinds of music, so maybe it was under their radar?
Right.
Like
could be that they just, never considered themselves to be punk, and
Right.
so they never sought out,
Yeah.
other punk music to realize that, oh shit, we were doing this 6 years ago.
Right. Yeah. Because they repeatedly referred to themselves as just a rock and roll band.
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because, like, even, like, the documentary, the very first person that you see is Henry Rollins.
Right.
And then, we talk to him later, and we see Jello Biafra, and, like, a couple
Don't forget
of other,
Kid Rock.
And Kid Rock, yeah. Well, there's, the Detroit connection, I guess.
True.
Yeah. Just like, yeah, where did, what happened in those years when punk was, like, at its height?
That is strange.
Yeah.
That
And
is
then,
very strange.
again, why would they, for 40 years, just sort of never think about death again,
Right. Yeah. Well, they had, the Lamb's Dragon or whatever it was. That's a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah. We just ate there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's bizarre. That is bizarre. And I really feel for them as someone who is trying to do artwork. It's like, you want to have your work noticed or successful or whatever.
Right.
But if it's not, you kind of hope that at least sometime down the road someone discovers it.
Right.
And it's awesome to me that actually did, at least that part actually did get to happen for them.
Right.
Like, that's amazing. Because...
But it's bittersweet, because the main driving force behind it, he died
Right.
before this happened.
decades before.
Right. 8 years.
Yeah. Oh, was it only 8 years?
Yeah, I think he
before that?
died in 2000.
Okay.
It was around 2008 when people started discovering them again.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. What a trip those guys had.
Yeah. But, they're getting some recognition now. They're apparently touring a little bit here and there.
And they're in their late 50s probably?
I would think so. I know the oldest brother was 48 when he died in 2000, so
Okay.
that's 50s or
Yeah.
so. But the couple of live clips that they show, they're still
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were pulling it off.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't look like some aging sad experience. It was
Right.
they're still doing it.
Yeah. Well, you got to think that you can look at someone like the who might be on tour now.
Right.
And they are just an aging, sad experience because they're clearly just doing it because, money.
Right.
Whereas these guys, they are...
Finally getting to do it.
Exactly, right,
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Can't recommend this enough if you like music.
Yeah, or just good stories for the underdog kind of thing.
Always love a good underdog story.
Oh man, I love that guy. He would shine the shoes.
Yeah. Just don't ever watch the actual underdog movie.
Oh, is there a live action or something?
Yes.
But he's animated?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, man. Who does his voice, do you know? Is it like Bill Murray?
I want to say it's Jim Belushi.
Oh. I got my next movie pick. That's amazing.
And I think Peter Dinklage is the villain.
Oh, man. Wow.
So Kurt, you can go watch that anytime you want.
Is he a big Dinklage fan?
He is a big Dinklage fan. He's the reason I actually quit OK Panic, because he kept threatening Peter Dinklage week.
Oh, really? Yeah. But you could have totally drew Underdog's villain.
That's true, I could have. Man.
A wasted opportunity. Yeah. It was really good.
It was.
It's really good.
And the music is great.
And there's emotions. It's not just like,
oh yeah,
you're not just looking at their scrapbook of their cool music. It's
right.
And it's not like, it doesn't feel like one of those VH1 behind the music things, really.
No,
like, where there's a contrived, emotional thing. But yeah, it's just really good.
Right. And I do like the sort of style of the documentary that this is, in which they take these old photographs from their history or whatever, and they sort of kind of animate them a little bit.
Oh yeah, they give it like a 3D look.
Right. The documentary that I saw that was fully done like that, there was maybe one talking head interview, and the entire thing was the Bill Hicks story, American, I think it was called, where it was done entirely just with old photographs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was pretty great too.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I like
Band
it.
called Death.
Yeah.
Wanna hear some Death?
Yeah. There's some death.
We'll hear some Death, and we'll be right back.
Sweet.
1, 2, 3, now! The number one beat this game is when the kingdom of fame is like a race at the top because they wanna be boss. They don't care who they step on as long as they get along. Politicians in my eyes. They could care less about you, they could care less about me. As long as they are put in the place that they want to be. They're always wearing false smiles like they go with the style. Politicians in my eyes. Always trying to be slick when they tell us that they're responsible for sending young men to die. We have waited so long for someone to come along and correct our stunts wrong, but the wait's been too long. It's really sickening to see the way they lie on TV. Something that it can be a better man than you see. But when decisions are come, that's when they have all the fun. Politicians in my eyes. They're always trying to convince you like we don't have the sense. They look just like kings and queens, but they do real stupid things that they used to trust in them because you're their biggest friends. Politicians in my eyes. Reaching out, shaking hands, making friends and other plans. Some will rise, some will fall, some won't even answer calls. Look ahead, see them fly, see the twinkle in their eyes. Politicians, tell me why can't you hear the people cry?
Hey, welcome back to Gutter Trash.
Hello!
That death really cooks.
Yep.
I've been using the word cooks a lot lately to
You
describe
should stop
music.
that.
It's fun for me, though. A lot of times things that I find really fun, people say I should stop. And I say no. Yeah.
Alright.
So would you go see Death if they were playing around here?
No.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not into
I know, right?
being around people.
I would maybe go and, like, show up, half an hour early.
Right.
Maybe see if I could say hi to the members of the band.
Sure.
Maybe buy a t-shirt.
Maybe. Yeah.
And then get the fuck out of there.
I'd buy the CD. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta think that with the documentary and everything, they probably, it would be a packed scene. I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Because, this
full
just
of
came out.
trendy young white guys.
Right. I mean, this came out last year, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Or early this year or something. But,
Yep.
So, yeah, they're probably still trying to
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
get some cash from
And why shouldn't they?
that. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no offense to the band, I would probably not go to.
Oh, yeah.
a show.
No, if
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
only us and the band.
Sure. Oh, that'd be fucking
yeah,
great.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If I had like this invention that was like a remote control with just one big red button, and like I could be in a place and I would push the button and it would just be me and then whatever I'm there to see.
Right.
Man, I would cherish that fucking button.
I would too.
I would take it to the theater.
Oh yeah.
I would take it to concerts. I would take it to when I shop, when I drive.
Yeah.
It would be great.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just being the only person and car on the road?
That would be fucking great.
It would be.
The other day I was driving home and I deliberately took a side road because I just wanted to be on the road by myself.
Wow.
And there was a fucking car behind me.
Oh. Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. The whole being around people thing, like it is turning me into just, like, it honestly makes me physically ill to think about being around more than, like, 3 people.
Right.
Cause we just had Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Was just this past week.
That's right.
And, was dreading going over to my parents' house, and it's not like my parents were having a huge party or anything like that, but it was my brother, his wife, and 2 kids, and 2 other guests we're all going to be there.
Right. Plus your mom
me
and dad.
my parents. Right. And that was just way too many people for me to deal with.
I'm with you. I mean, I think I like people more than you like people.
Right.
But yeah, I don't like being in a room with more than 5 of them at once.
Right. Yeah.
And I looked out. My Thanksgiving was me and my mom and Doogie
That sounds great.
and my dog and my cat.
Well, that sounds even better.
It was-
Because animals are better than people.
99% of the time, I would agree.
Yeah. Not my parents' animals. They're fucking awful.
Right.
But most animals are better than people.
Right. It's good times.
Yeah. So I didn't have a great Thanksgiving. You?
I did. We watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which we'd been meaning to do for like 4 years, me and Doogie.
Uh-huh.
And we always like forget by the time Thanksgiving rolls around, and we're like, we'll just watch it anyway. And then we're like, no, damn it, we're gonna watch it on Thanksgiving. And this year we got to actually do it. It was
Yeah.
great.
It was on the WB on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
It aired as a program on that channel.
Nice. Commercial free.
Not commercial free, no. But it apparently did better in the ratings than their actual programming,
Yeah. Really. Wow.
which Wednesday night would have been Arrow.
I would much rather watch any John Hughes movie than any superhero television show.
I wouldn't say any John Hughes movie.
Home Alone? Come on.
I'd
good stuff.
watch that, sure.
Yeah, I would watch any John Hughes movie over any superhero TV show.
Right.
But not over any TV show.
Okay. Right.
Excuse me. Oh. Yeah, Thanksgiving was good, and then I was lucky enough to also enjoy some of your Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Because your mom was kind enough to send me a plate of her homemade pineapple cheesecake bars or whatever. They were just like cut into squares.
Right.
Man, good stuff. Good stuff.
I'll take your word for it, as I do not like both of those ingredients.
Cheesecake or
Pineapple.
really? You don't like cheesecake?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, it's the worst.
Oh man.
Cannot think of a thing that would make me want to vomit more,
Really?
other than someone else vomiting.
Oh yeah, that is weird. yeah, I loved it. That was great. I'm still eating Thanksgiving leftovers. Like I still had some earlier today.
I am too.
I mean, it's cool, right?
I guess.
You just get kind of burnt out on it.
It's free.
Yeah,
That's pretty much the only thing that's going for it right
it's
now.
free and tasty, but it's
It's
just
just tasty, but, just,
too much of a good thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Other than we had pizza last night when we did drawing night, and then we had Chinese tonight as we watched the movie. And those are the only two non-Thanksgiving related meals that I have had in the past 4 days.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
I watched some movies other than
Oh,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
sure.
Well, you and I watched Super.
Yeah, that's right.
Which was awesome. That was a great movie.
James Gunn with Rainn Wilson, Kevin Bacon, and Ellen Page.
Yeah.
I
Good
recommend it. I've recommended it to other people, and no one listens to me.
Right. And I didn't listen, and you forced me to watch it, and I'm glad you did. It was really good.
I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
I think it's one of the better non-traditional superhero movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's in there with, like, Mystery Men and some other stuff, but
A little kick-ass.
yeah, Kick-Ass, but I honestly think it was better than Kick-Ass. And even though I've got a special spot in my heart for Mystery Men, because I fucking love Bob
Right.
Hood and stuff, I think it was better than that, too. Like, it was just a really good movie.
I like it better than Kick-Ass, and I enjoyed Kick-Ass, the first one anyway.
Yeah, me too.
Did not ever enjoy Mystery Men.
Really?
Yeah,
I like that one.
pretty much always thought that was kind of an awful movie.
Really?
Which is sad, because I really did want to like it.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, like of the type of movie that I guess non-traditional superhero movie is the best way to call it. It's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen Hancock or Special, or I'm sure there's another one or two, but
I've seen Special. It's okay. Hancock I've never seen, and I don't particularly want to.
Special is the one with Michael Rappaport.
Yes,
Isn't there one with Woody Harrelson? Defendor.
Defendor.
I think I have seen that one too, and I just kind of forgot about it. So
Right,
obviously,
yeah. James Gunn wrote another movie back in like 2000, something like that. It came out right around the same time that Mr. Man did, called The Specials, which I really enjoy that one too.
It's a documentary about the ska band.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a message to you, Rudy.
So that one's pretty good.
Yeah. I enjoy that one quite a bit. It's got a lot of good people in it.
Oh.
Like a Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah.
Paget Brewster. And, Jamie Kennedy is in it. Yeah, some good people. It's funny. Rob Lowe, he's in it.
Wow. Yeah. I like him. Local favorite.
Yeah.
I think the first time I ever heard of Rob Lowe was when he did the sex tape, because it was all over the news around here.
Yeah.
'Cause, that was like mid '80s,
Yeah,
mid to
I think
late
so,
'80s.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I'd ever heard of him. So that was my indoctrination into Rob Lowe.
Probably the same for me too. Yeah.
Oh, not to backtrack, but before I mention the other movie I saw, which I'm excited to mention, did you know Elijah Wood was the CEO of a record label?
I did not.
Was that a joke?
Don't know. Because okay, so this is actually going back to the documentary.
Yeah, the band called Death.
Band called Death. Like I said, Henry Rollins is like the first face and voice that you hear in the movie, And then they interview like somebody else, and then like all of a sudden Elijah Wood is there giving like his thoughts on the band called Death.
And you're like, that's weird.
And I was just like, why is he involved? And then like much later in the movie, like he's pulled back again, and like they put his name on the screen, and CEO Simeon Records.
Yeah. What the hell?
What?
I had no idea.
I had no idea either. I still am wary that Elijah Wood was in this movie at all.
That was the strangest part of the movie, I think.
Yeah. I think I can safely say that I'm not a fan of an Elijah Wood.
I don't mind him.
I don't actively try to avoid anything he's in. I've seen stuff that he's in, but
Sin City was good. He was good.
He was fine. Yeah. Recently watched a movie that he was in called Maniac, which was weird because it was entirely a first-person movie.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, where he played a serial killer. And it's entirely told from his first-person view. So the only time you actually ever see him is in reflections.
Right.
Yeah.
So he didn't really have to work that much in that movie. Probably.
He said he was there the entire time.
Like if you see arms, that's his arms.
Yeah.
Well, I think that-
He said sometimes there had to be a stunt arm because I guess he had the camera on him, like physically on him the entire time, like strapped to him.
Right.
So like sometimes like he couldn't use both of his arms, so there would be like somebody else pretending to be his other arm.
Weird.
Yeah, but it's a weird movie.
Not good though.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I guess it's a remake of another movie, but it's
It's
called Maniac.
I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that.
You may hate it. It's kind of pointlessly, overtly violent.
Oh, okay, then I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's like fun.
It's not fun.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
yeah, it is not fun.
I don't mind fun violent.
Right,
Over the
right,
top.
yeah.
Like Guar or whatever.
Right, no, yeah, this takes itself a little too seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I'm done with that one. I did see a movie that did not take itself too seriously.
Oh?
I finally saw The World's End.
Oh, yeah.
The Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright extravaganza.
I got to watch that again, like about a week ago.
Because you saw it on the
Saw it
big
in the
screen.
theater, yeah.
Pretty fucking great.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your lady friend and I talked about that movie on our show, Stupid Sexy Podcast. So we sort of talked about it there, but I'll talk to you about the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to go too much into the story.
No, not like that. But like the one thing that we did discuss was, I think by now we've all seen every Edgar Wright movie there is,
Right.
You know, especially the ones with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Where do you rank them?
Oh, as far as like amongst those three?
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
It's not so much for me.
Really?
Yeah.
If I was forced to write them down in an order right now, which I don't want to do,
Right.
I would.
Okay, let me say this.
I
I think they're all great.
think they're all great too.
You know, like, there's nothing wrong with any of the three.
Right.
The Blood and Ice Cream trilogy.
Right.
Right.
Cornetto
Yeah.
or whatever.
Cornetto, yeah. But I do have a preference order. Which I think is the better movie and which is not. Even though, again, all great and recommended.
Yeah. And it's like, I think I know exactly the order,
Yeah.
but I only think I know. Like,
Right,
it's really close, but I think I like them chronologically.
Okay.
Like, I think Shaun of the Dead's my favorite, and Hot Fuzz, and then World's End. But that's not to say World's End is like...
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I fucking love it.
That's my order, too. I think, honestly, I think Shaun of the Dead is one of the world's most perfectly written movies.
Yeah.
And I've seen, all three of them recently. So it's relatively fresh in my head. But, watching Shaun of the Dead, it's just every line of dialogue in that movie spoken is just perfectly crafted as either a joke or foreshadowing or just whatever.
It's so good.
It's great. And then Hot Fuzz is also great, but I did like World's End a little less than the other two, but it's still great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, like, first of all, without blowing anything, there's elements to that movie that I had no idea were part of the story, and I'm
Right.
super glad they weren't spoiled for me.
I did not have that luxury.
That sucks.
I did my damnedest to not know anything about it, because, I mean, I'm sold already. I mean, my ticket is bought as soon as I knew that it was an Edgar Wright movie with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're there.
Right. And so, but then like a week before the movie came out, like, I just could not get away from commercials for it
Right.
that were pretty much just sort of
Spoiling
ruining it. Yeah.
I'm really surprised that the surprises weren't ruined for me. But yeah, I can't remember where I was going to go with that. I'm just really surprised that they weren't ruined for me, because they're pretty huge. Like, I totally thought I knew exactly what this movie was.
Right.
Like if you'd have been like, now how much do you know about this movie? I probably would have shot myself in the foot, because I'm like, oh, I actually know all of it. Like,
Right.
you know, because in my mind, I know that they're going from pub to pub and like
Right.
reliving their past.
Right.
So I know the whole fucking thing. But that is not true at all.
Nope.
There's so much more, and it's so awesome.
It's pretty damn great.
So yeah, I'm really, really impressed with that movie.
Yeah. Cool.
But I think Hot Fuzz makes me laugh more than any of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely like Shaun of the Dead better, just because I grew up watching zombie movies,
Right,
and like
right.
it's just for me, it's like a better, cooler, more inventive thing.
Right.
But Hot Fuzz, I think, is the funniest.
I still think Shaun of the Dead is the funnier movie too.
Yeah.
But you know, again, not
They're
to,
all really close,
right.
right?
Not to dismiss the other two at all.
I know.
Like, I would even throw in Scott Pilgrim into that
Yeah,
mix.
yeah. That's a great movie too.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that again.
Yeah.
I saw it at the theater, and that's the last time I saw it. So
I guess Edgar Wright's his next movie is going to be a straight horror movie.
really,
Yeah.
everybody's changing up their style. Like Bobcat's doing a Bigfoot like pseudo documentary.
Yeah.
I still think there's got to be like just a complete comedy twist in there somewhere in Bigfoot.
You know, I wouldn't be surprised if there turns out to be, but at the same time, you know, I'm always glad to see someone who is good. You know, like I mean, every Bobcat movie that you and I have seen together anyway, you know, has been pretty fucking great.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and every Edgar Wright movie I've seen, I've loved.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited when someone who is really good at the thing that they do decides to stretch out and do
Yeah.
something different.
No, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just with Bobcat, I can't believe it.
Right.
Like I'm like, I mean, like if you're like, yeah, well, you know, Weird Al's putting off this like real serious like emotional piece, you know,
Right,
like,
right.
heartfelt kind of dramatic concept album. I'd be like, what?
Right. Yeah, I get you. I get what you're saying.
So like either way, I won't be disappointed.
Right,
But
right.
I totally expect there to be like a weird comedy twist.
Right. Yeah, I guess we'll find out when it ever comes out.
What's it called? Is it just called Bigfoot?
I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know.
But it's Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bobcat Goldthwait made a Bigfoot movie.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah.
Pretty excited.
I watched a couple of movies today, anyway. That I kind of wish maybe I hadn't. First one I watched was Zoolander, the like 2000 comedy from Ben Stiller.
Never saw it.
Never saw it either. It's streaming on Netflix. You know, I figured maybe it's one of those things where it's like, because I'd only ever heard really bad things about it anyway.
Right.
It's like, well, maybe it's one of those things where it's not as bad as I've heard. You know, maybe there's just some
Redeeming quality.
right, yeah. You know, and then here, 10, 13 years later, or whatever, like maybe it'll just be great. And it was like early this morning, and I was just looking for something to watch, and it's like maybe it's a comedy, and whatever. I'll give it a shot. It was just not funny.
Right. Yeah, it didn't look great to me.
Yeah.
I do like Ben Stiller. So.
I do too. You know, I don't have anything against him or Owen Wilson or not even really Will Ferrell. Here,
I didn't even realize Owen Wilson was in that.
right? But yeah, I didn't like that at all. And then I watched a movie called Valhalla Rising, which is by Nicholas Winding Refn, who directed Drive and Only God Forgives and Bronson. And it was just kind of a really artsy-fartsy, pointless movie about nothing.
Right?
Which also was Only God Forgives. Was also exactly like that, too.
So maybe it's something you can put on when you're drawing or something.
No, not even that.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's how much self-seriousness that it has, is that it just sucks out all the life around you.
That reminds me of something.
Me?
No. I finally got around to reading Batman the Deal. Is it called the Deal?
Yeah.
The Deal, is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
The
yeah.
Deal or the something, I don't know.
Yeah.
The Dealer, I don't know.
The fan comic that I talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. That you said the art kind of reminded you of Paul Pope a little bit.
Right, yeah.
It totally reminds me of like a little darker Paul Pope, maybe. Like
Yeah.
not as fun, not as cartoony. The story was awful.
Yep.
It was just terrible.
Yep.
To
To top it all, with the Bill Hicks quote.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just like it was bad. I like the art. I really.
Oh, yeah, the art is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, that story was just stupid.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really thought I wouldn't agree with you.
Right?
Like, because I'm like, whatever. It's a fan Batman thing.
Right.
But it was fucking bad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, for the most part, you and I, we have some similar tastes, but when we differ, it is super different.
Yeah, right. Right. That's one of those things that we, from our various vantage points, can see the same
Yep.
turd.
So I am super relieved that you disliked it.
Yeah, but you know what? Hey, he got people to read his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I hope
sure.
I hope he keeps writing. I hope
that artist keeps doing stuff.
I hope they
'cause that
both-
guy is great.
both do, but I hope the writer doesn't feel the need to take everything so dark and serious and
Right.
like
And
dramatic and
the thing is that sadly you and I are totally in the minority about that story.
really, yeah.
That because that is just the kind of
Yeah.
bullshit that insecure comic fans love to eat up,
Yeah.
and that is the only thing that I could think to call them is just they're so like okay. I think this past week, maybe late last week, something like that. Alan Moore gave another interview
Oh, really?
where he basically he was shocked and disgusted that the Avengers movie made so much money because adults who enjoy and consume superhero stories are just malformed retards
Aww.
who have just so stunted in their development that they just shouldn't even be alive. And I am paraphrasing and maybe adding some extra words in there.
But the gist is that he wasn't a big fan and thinks we're silly for liking it.
Right, yeah. And of course he had to throw in that there hasn't been a good superhero comic since The Watchmen.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
that kind of thing.
He means the Before Watchmen books? No, wait a minute. Did he actually watch the Avengers? Because that would surprise me too.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Like
it would surprise me that he would watch it, and it would surprise me that after watching it, he wouldn't at least say, this is a well-crafted story.
Right. Yeah, he probably didn't watch it at all because, again, he doesn't want to be perceived as a, fanboy or developmentally disabled or whatever it is he thinks we all are for still liking superheroes in our 30s.
Right.
Or older. Because his thing is that, well, superheroes are for children, and, it's supposed to, uplift their imagination, and now it's all just angry old people. Apparently not seeing the irony.
You're like, yeah, it's probably because of a lot of these books that were written in the 80s that inspired that sort of thing. You've probably been familiar with one of them. It was by Dave Gibbons. And the original writer.
Oh, that was a good callback
Yeah.
to something we probably discussed weeks ago.
Weeks ago, right?
So yeah, it's just like, so many people out there now just in this freak out because of him saying all that stuff. And it's just like, if you're so offended by what he said, then I think that says a little bit more about them than it does Alan Moore.
Right.
Because Alan Moore at this point is,
he's a character.
when you see an article about Alan Moore or an interview with him and they say Alan Moore and then put in parentheses his credits, it should also include V for Vendetta, Watchmen, known curmudgeon.
Right. And like, okay, how old was he when he was writing Tom Strong? Because that's kind of
Yeah,
a superhero thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a pulpy superhero, but
right.
I'm sure he was not in his 20s. He was
Sure,
probably in his
right.
40s, right?
I would guess, yeah, if older, because he's got to be 60-something now, right?
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. He's always looked like he was about 80.
Right. But it's like, I mean, and I know that one was supposed to be more of a nostalgic love letter. That wasn't
Right.
like, he wasn't trying to say anything, like,
Right,
make
or
fun
Supreme.
of. Right, yeah.
Or the 1963 comic from Image that he did for a while.
Or maybe he's just saying, like, it's okay to write them, you just can't read them.
I guess, yeah. Or, but then, you look at something like Miracle Man or Watchmen or, are those for children, Alan?
Right.
Yeah. Since
Yeah.
that's all superheroes should be for?
Yeah, the first few pages of that Miracle Man series are what I'm going to wallpaper on my kids' wall when they're children. Yeah, I don't know. I actually still love Alan Moore, but I feel like he's just got it all wrong.
Right,
you
yeah.
know?
He's a known curmudgeon.
Yeah.
He's a sentient beard with finger armor.
I mean, I love a portion of the things he's written, and I've often loved reading interviews with him, and like, I thought he was an intelligent, interesting guy, but
Right.
it's just like, it's not quite as bad as the Dave Sim thing, but
Right.
it's like, I hate to see that whenever, like, first of all, you like a work, and then you're like, oh, you realize you like the guy that does the work.
Right.
But then, like, it starts tapering off, and he becomes this weirdo that's,
Right.
like, always angry, and...
That's, and it's probably just, just sort of buying into his own press, maybe.
I can see that.
Like I can see, like, because I think the three biggest examples of this is, Dave Sim, Alan Moore, and Frank Miller.
Yeah.
Who have all just seemingly gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
Like, especially, like, later in their careers.
Right. Totally agree.
Yeah. And who all three of them, considered geniuses, and then, in one way or the other, revolutionized comics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure again, to be that person, you have to be a little bit crazy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right.
To be able to reach the outer limits and bring something back to share with people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems like, especially in the last 10 years or so, all three of them have just gone into the area of crazy that is just like, maybe you should be locked in a home.
Yeah, or you should at least have someone, edit everything you
Right, yeah.
share with the world.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah. But again, if you're the type of person who reads an Alan Moore interview where he condemns all superhero comics and you get super offended by it, then maybe you should
Right.
rethink yourself.
Yeah, just read it more as like entertainment than
Right,
than as like, a lesson.
Right. Because, I mean, I love superheroes and I love superhero comics, but I also don't see them for anything more than what they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Entertainment. Mindless entertainment, yeah. And, sometimes I find it hard to get through sometimes, because maybe it is a little too mindless or taking itself too seriously.
Totally agree. That's kind of why I've drifted away from them for the most part.
Right.
Like, I'll still reread some. I've actually reread some old Jack Kirby stuff in the last week.
Right.
And that's fine. Like, I enjoy it. So, I just, overall, I'm not as excited about it.
Right.
And I'm sure a large portion of that is working at Mavericks and seeing books like that, like the mediocre ones, overshadow the brilliant non-superhero books.
Right.
Not that all non-superhero books are brilliant.
Right.
But the ones that are get overshadowed by the mediocre ones that are superheroes, and that just drives me crazy.
Right. Relating a lot to what we talked about with a band called Death.
That's right. Exactly.
Somewhere out there is a Jack Kirby like kind of visionary who just never made it, and he's probably still just out there floundering.
That, or like the craziest part is to think, and like there's no way this is speculation, but there has to have been so many amazing artists, writers, musicians over the years that maybe even did release something, but it was so small print or just like ahead of its time and just kind of got lost. And it's so crazy to think that there's a lot of amazing artwork and music and things that just no one ever got to really pick up on.
Right.
That's nuts.
Like there's a documentary out, another sort of kind of along the same theme of a band called Death, called Waiting for Sugarman, which is about a guy who put out like a folk album or something like that in like the late '60s, and like it did nothing.
Right.
And like critics loved it, and like this is like the next coming of Dylan or something like that, but like it just sold for shit, and just the guy was like, well, fuck it, I'm done, and just like disappeared.
Huh.
But then in like this third world country, somebody got a hold of this album and heard a song on it, and it became like this major sort of like, revolutionary kind of anthem for this whole country. And the guy became a superstar, but never knew it because it's in the middle of nowhere. And so for like 40 years, he had just been built up into this icon. And like finally, like eventually, like within the past 10 years or so, somebody found him and he was still alive and he was just being a dude.
Wow. Just a janitor or something.
Whatever, yeah.
Wow, but he did eventually hear about it, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Waiting for who?
Sugarman.
Sugarman.
Yeah.
Might have to look that up.
Yeah. Or Sugarman.
Sugarman! I like that better.
Yeah. It's a Generation X villain.
Yeah. Or like the comic book that they hand out at the dentist office.
Yeah.
Sugarman. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So speaking of comics,
Uh-huh.
should I choose one for us to read?
You should.
Okay.
Veto.
Yeah, I was going to say, get your veto ready. No, you won't know that you want to veto it. Shit, I just told him. No, it's a graphic novel called Blue by a man named Pat Grant.
Okay. Is he a friend of yours?
Nope.
Okay.
I think he's an Australian cartoonist, and I believe this is his debut.
A debit.
Yep.
All right.
No veto?
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. No reason to veto.
Yeah.
Cool.
Look forward to reading it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
All right.
I honestly don't know if you would like it or hate it.
Okay.
So it's not obviously a typical like autobio whiny thing or anything.
Okay.
So I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, we'll find out next week.
Yeah, we will.
Blue.
Blue.
Pat Grant.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is he in relation to Cat Grant from the Superman comics?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Steve Grant or Alan Grant.
Steve Grant.
Could be
Alan
in
Grant,
there.
yeah.
There's a lot of Grants out there.
There is.
Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah. Hugh.
Hugh Grant.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay then.
We've exhausted our knowledge of the surname Grant.
Good night. Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information, links to our Facebook and Twitter pages, and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.